Okay, welcome back to all of you guys. Welcome back. Welcome to everyone who's joining online as well. What I normally do when we come back from lunch is I start with meditation and lead you guys in a meditation session. But just because timing is where it's at today, what I'm going to do is I'm going to teach you this topic first. And then at the end, if you guys would like to stick around and do some meditation, I'll stick around and do meditation with you guys. But just understand this is a little bit different than I normally do it, which normally we start with meditation right away. But I would like to teach you guys this topic and be sure you have an opportunity to understand it because this is important to be able to understand what's really going on in the unenlightened mind. There's certain pollutions that the Buddha discovered, but he has this high way of explaining it called the three poisons or the three unwholesome roots or the three fires. The deepest level of detail is called the 10 fetters. And we talked a little bit about that this morning. We're going to be having an entire class on understanding all of these 10 fetters. But just as a recap, a fetter is a shackle and a chain and a ball that's around the ankle of a prisoner during the lifetime of the Buddha, just to keep this individual confined to a certain area. So when the Buddha discovered these 10 pollutions in the mind, he referred to them as fetters. This is keeping the mind trapped in this unenlightened state over and over and over again, experiencing anger, sadness, and frustration, and so forth. But all of this bubbles up to a high level where you can understand it through the three poisons and the three unwholesome roots or the three fires. In order to be able to get to enlightenment, you would need to understand that deeper level of detail of the 10 fetters. But at this point, I'm going to introduce you to this through the three poisons, because this will help you to be able to understand things at a high level. Because this morning we were talking about the Four Noble Truths. This gives you like a window into the unenlightened mind, understanding that craving, desire, attachment is causing difficulties in the mind, causing these discontent feelings. But now we're going to go a little bit deeper into it, helping you to understand this next level of detail. And just like always, you guys are welcome to ask questions. We have the microphones here for you guys. And then online, you guys can ask questions through putting your questions into the comments section of Facebook, YouTube, or Zoom, or raise your hand in Zoom and ask any questions that you like. So these three poisons or three unwholesome roots or three fires, they're also known as the defilements or the pollutions or the taints. People sometimes refer to them this way. It's helping you to understand this high level understanding of the pollutions that are in the unenlightened mind and why it keeps experiencing the things that it's experiencing over and over and over and over again. Because any decisions that you make are going through your mind. And if your mind has these pollutions, which every unenlightened mind does, you're going to be making decisions that are unwise, and now it's going to produce unwholesome results. And of course, in some situations, you make wise decisions and it produces wholesome results, but in some situations, you're making unwise decisions and it's producing unwholesome results. We refer to that as unwholesome karma. The word karma is just a Pali word that refers to cause and effect or action and result. Some people talk about this as the word karma. This is the Sanskrit version of the word, just a different language, referring to the same natural law. Whenever you're making decisions through craving, anger, and ignorance, it's going to produce unwholesome karma or unwholesome results. And oftentimes what people do is they blame this on other people, not realizing that it's actually coming from your own mind, that as you're making decisions through these three unwholesome roots, it's going to produce unwholesome karma or unwholesome results for you. So it provides a clear description of the problems that an individual is experiencing in the unenlightened state. And the wholesome roots are helping you to understand the solutions or the antidotes to these three poisons. So I'm going to help you to understand what these are by first helping you to understand them at a high level. Then we're going to go into them in more detail, and we're really going to talk about the solutions too. You guys already know the main solution, at least you've been introduced to it, which is the Eightfold Path. That's what we talked about this morning. But now we're going to go in and I'm going to show you the certain pieces of the Eightfold Path that's really addressing each component of this. So what craving, anger, and ignorance are, these are the three poisons or three unwholesome roots or three fires. And craving, desire, attachment, wants, expectations, this is the mind longing, yearning, and chasing after the objects of its affection, wanting things to be a certain way. The mind's craving permanence. And if the mind gets what it wants, it gets those pleasant feelings like we were talking about this morning, like happiness, excitement, elation, thrill, exhilaration, euphoria. And if the mind doesn't get what it wants, it gets the painful feelings like anger, sadness, frustration, irritation, annoyance, guilt, shame, fear, stress, anxiety. These are very painful for the mind to experience. And this is all coming from the mind itself. It's the craving, desire, attachment craving permanence. We talked about this morning, and I gave you guys examples of like a boyfriend or girlfriend. If you guys get together, you get really happy and excited about that. But then over time, as the relationship deteriorates, you break up, and now you're angry or sad or frustrated or lonely or bored or missing this person. This is the mind craving permanence, wanting this person to be in your life permanently, when in reality, this relationship is impermanent. I also talked about a car. If you have a car with a scratch on it, maybe this was a car you were saving up for. You went inside the store and you came outside and your brand new car has a scratch on it. If you're angry or frustrated there, it's not the scratch that's causing it. And it's not the person who scratched your car. What's causing this is the mind is craving permanence, wanting this car to look permanently beautiful, when it's not possible for this car to look permanently beautiful. That we're not talking about what's wise or unwise, because obviously when we walk through a parking lot, we aspire not to scratch anybody's car. But the fact is that this car is going to get a scratch. It's only a matter of time. The paint's going to fade. The tires are going to need to be changed. The upholstery is going to get ripped and torn. It's only a matter of time before there's some impermanence that is going to visit this car. And if your mind craves permanence, when you're experiencing this, your mind's not going to like it, and you're going to experience the painful feelings. You can see this like if you get happy when it's sunny outside. Well, then when it rains, you'll get sad or frustrated. Or if you get really happy when your bank account balance is up here, when it goes down here, you'll get angry or sad or frustrated. And the only thing that's happening here is change. That's it. It's just change. That's it. But the mind is craving permanence. So as long as there's craving in the mind, in some situations you're going to get what you want. You're going to be happy about that. In other situations, you're not going to get what you want. And the mind's going to experience these painful feelings. And now when this anger is arising, that's where the mind falsely attributes this to something external. And now when the anger arises, thinking that the problem is external, the mind's going to tend to push people away, or it's going to try to push the situation away. And you can see this doesn't solve the problem, because if that solved the problem, when you push these people out of your life, you'd be peaceful from that point forward. They're not the real true cause of the problem, but the mind's misunderstanding, it's pushing this person or this situation away, thinking that that's going to solve your problem. Or you might be bitter and harsh and hostile to someone through your intentions, your speech, and your actions. That anger is producing that bitterness and hostility, and you're venting it towards other people. It's almost like an animal growling and roaring at another animal, thinking that that's going to solve your problem. The mind is trying to fear this other being into doing things your way. Or you might be putting your expectations on people, trying to control them or force them, attempting to coerce them, maybe even to do things your way. The mind thinks that if I can just get this person to do things my way, everything would be perfect. So as long as you have craving in your mind, you will experience anger. Even the slighter versions of that, frustration, agitation, annoyance, even dislike. This is all coming from your own mind. Sometimes when you dislike another person, you might think it's coming from them, but it's actually coming from your own mind. Your mind's craving permanence. You want everybody to be a certain way. And if people are that way, you like them because that's your way of doing things and you like these people. But if they don't do things your way, then you dislike them. This is coming from your own cravings, desires, attachments. So the mind is craving permanence, not realizing that it lives in an impermanent world. Everything around you is constantly changing. It's not possible for you to experience permanence in this material world, that things are constantly changing. So as long as there's craving, there's going to be anger. And when this anger is arising, the mind is going to function unskillfully. And you're going to start producing unwholesome karma or unwholesome results by pushing people away, being bitter, harsh, and hostile, or putting your expectations on people and trying to control them. And where this is all coming from is the ignorance, the unknowing of true reality, the lack of wisdom, the confusion. Now, some people call this ignorance. I like to use the phrase unknowing of true reality because the word ignorance is like a derogatory word. And I would never refer to someone as ignorant or stupid. This isn't the way that you would experience beneficial results and wholesome results in your day-to-day life, referring to people in derogatory ways. Instead, it's better to think about this as confusion or misunderstanding or lack of wisdom or the unknowing of true reality. The mind in the unenlightened state just doesn't understand what it doesn't understand. It lacks wisdom. So as long as the mind has this lack of wisdom or this ignorance in the mind, it's going to continue to crave and it's going to continue to have anger. Part of that ignorance that the mind has, or that lack of wisdom, is it firmly believes that other people are causing you to be angry. The mind just can't see this on its own. You need to be able to understand something like the Four Noble Truths to be able to see that it's your own mind that's causing these feelings, that it's not the outside world. And you need to reflect on it and see it through your own direct experience. That maybe you've looked at a situation where you've been angry or frustrated or sad, and you can see that it's your own mind craving permanence. And if you're having trouble seeing that, let me know so that I can help you, because you need to be able to have this breakthrough to be able to see the truth for yourself. So while we call this craving, anger, and ignorance, it's really because of ignorance that craving and anger continues. If it wasn't for this lack of wisdom of the way the world truly works, the mind would have eliminated its craving, it would eliminate its anger. But because the mind lacks wisdom, it continues to have craving and anger and continues to have difficulty after difficulty after difficulty, broken relationship after broken relationship after broken relationship. So this is from a high level, craving, anger, and ignorance. Some people refer to it as greed, hatred, and delusion. And you might hear other ways that people refer to this too. But now what I'm going to do is I'm going to focus on the solutions, because we talked about craving quite a bit this morning with the Four Noble Truths. You guys are probably already understanding that. But what's really solving this, of course, is the entire Eightfold Path. That's why the Buddha says in the Four Noble Truths that the Eightfold Path is the way to eliminate all your craving, desire, attachment. But there's two things that are really targeting the craving, desire, attachment the most. It's the breathing mindfulness meditation and the generosity. Because what craving, desire, attachment is going to do is it's going to cause your mind to hold on and crave permanence, wanting things to be a certain way, holding on and holding on and holding on, right? So what you're doing is you're training your mind to let go. Because as long as you hold on, you're going to experience those discontent feelings. It's going to be very painful. You could see this when you broke up with your boyfriend or girlfriend, that as long as you were holding on to them within your own mind, it hurt. You experienced anger and frustration. You were lonely and bored and missing this person. But at some point, your mind let go, and that's where you regained your peacefulness and your joy. So the breathing mindfulness meditation, when you're focused on the breath and the mind moves off the breath and you let go, that's what that's doing for you, is it's training your mind to let go, because the mind doesn't understand how to do that in the unenlightened state. You're letting go of that thought and coming back to the breath. So maybe 10, 15, 20, 30 times during your meditation, you're having to train your mind to let go and come back, let go and come back, let go and come back. So that's what you're doing in that meditation, is training your mind to let go. So that now in day-to-day life, as you're noticing the discontent feelings arising as a bodily sensation, you can cut it off and let it go. That's what the Eightfold Path is teaching you. So essentially, breathing mindfulness meditation is building this internal mechanism within your mind to be able to let go, let go, let go, let go. And if you do that enough, there won't be any anger arising. It just won't happen. It's impossible for an enlightened being to experience that. So your breathing mindfulness meditation is training your mind to let go while building that mindfulness and concentration. Same thing with generosity. The mind's being trained to let go, because the mind will be somewhat selfish when it has craving, desire, attachment. It'll hold on to things very tightly. The mind thinks, if I spend 3 hours doing this, I want this in return. Or if I spend 3 days doing that, I want this in return. The mind won't be willing to share with others. The mind wants things to be self-pleasing and fulfill its own selfish desires. So when you're practicing generosity, you'd like to be able to give and share with others without any expectation of anything in return, such as your time, effort, energy, and resources. And you'd like to do this by integrating it into your day-to-day life in ways that's really easy for you to practice, where you don't have to go 3 hours out of your way just to practice one act of generosity. So like you're walking into a store, you see someone's behind you, you can hold the door for that person. That's your generosity. But you need to be sure you're doing this without any expectation of anything in return. Because if you're standing there with an expectation that they will say thank you and they walk through the door and they don't say thank you, you'll be irritated or annoyed. But it's your own mind craving permanence, thinking that every single person who walks through this door should say thank you. Maybe you say thank you when you walk through the door, but maybe other people don't even see you standing there. Their mind is so caught up in what they're going to get out of the store, they don't even see you. Or maybe they do see you. Maybe they look you straight in the eye and they don't even say thank you, right? Some people are going to say thank you and some people aren't. That's normal. That's impermanence. But if your mind craves permanence, when someone walks through without having said thank you, you'll get angry and irritated and annoyed. So you need to be able to practice generosity with one goal in mind, to enhance the quality of your mind, that you just give and share without any expectation of anything in return, not even a thank you. So if you're going to hold the door, be sure you do it without any expectation, not even a thank you. And if you're going to practice generosity, integrating it into your life where it becomes very easy for you to do is best. So like if you're at the market buying yourself some mangoes, for example, maybe you toss some bananas into the bag for your neighbor. Takes you an extra 1 minute or 2 minutes, right? Or maybe you're buying yourself a chocolate bar and you would like to buy a second or a third chocolate bar for somebody else, right? To give it away to other people. Maybe you don't even know who you're going to give it away to. You just know in your day you're going to see somebody and you're just going to give away this chocolate bar as a way to practice some generosity, right? So you'd like to integrate this generosity into your life where it's very easy for you to practice generosity, where it's just effortless, where your mind is consciously choosing to give and share with others without any expectation of anything in return. And what you're going to notice with both of these is your frequency is more important than the amount. That, remember what I said about meditation, that if it was between one meditation for 30 minutes or 2 for 15, 2 for 15 is actually more beneficial for you. This is a daily practice of meditation. Generosity is exactly the same way. That frequency is more important than the amount. That if you were going to give $500 once a year to an orphanage, that's not going to have nearly as much benefit as if you gave $1 a day, where every single day you're having to let go, let go, let go, let go. Because the mind will tend to crave its money. It will tend to hold on to it very tightly, unwilling to be able to share with others. So you would like to be frequently letting go every single day, letting go, letting go, letting go, letting go. And remember, it's not just money that you can practice generosity with. It's your time, effort, energy, and resources. So if you're going to give a certain amount, let's just say you're going to give $5 in one day. Right? You'd actually like to break that up and give $1 to this donation box. Now you're in another store 3 hours later, give $1 to that donation box. A couple hours later, give $1 to that donation box. That's how you train your mind to let go. So where you see your mind being discontent, you can look and see what is it discontent about. So if you notice when your bank account balance is up here, you're happy. And when it goes down here, you're sad or frustrated. You're attached to your money. You're forming your feelings based on your money and you're craving for it to be permanent. So you're going to need to give and share with the people around you in order to be able to train your mind to let go. But you need to practice this from the middle way, because if you overextended yourself, you wouldn't have the things you need in order to sustain your life. But if you never shared, then your mind's going to be quite selfish. So where you see your mind having discontentedness, you're going to need to share that particular thing. So let's just say you take your clothes out of the washing machine and you see that they're ripped and torn, and now you're discontent because of it. You're frustrated or agitated. You're going to need to share your clothes. You're going to need to give away some of your clothes in order to train your mind to let go, right? If you're noticing that you're hoarding food and you don't like to share your food, you're going to need to share with other people around you. So when you see things that you're doing, that your mind is hoarding and you're holding on to and you're discontent, you're going to need to share. At one time, my son was really attached to popcorn. He was craving popcorn. And I had him pop a bunch of popcorn, and he was popping popcorn every day. He was eating popcorn. And then I suggested to him to bag some of it up and give it away to his friends in the village. So he bagged up some popcorn. He made like 5 or 6 different bags, and he went around the village and gave it out to his friends at their houses, right? And this helped train his mind to let it go. right? So you're going to need to do this with certain things that you see your mind's holding on to. Your time, effort, energy, and resources. Train your mind to let go. Maybe you have some jewelry that when you misplace it, you're like, oh my gosh, where's my jewelry? Ah, that's my favorite earrings. That's my favorite ring, my favorite watch. Ah, where is it? Where is it? Ah, you see that you're craving, you're attached to it. Your mind's unstable and unsteady when it's not around. So maybe it's too expensive to be able to give it away. So maybe what you do is you find some people that you trust that you can give it to them and they can wear it for a few weeks or a few months. And now you're just letting them borrow it. And now your mind's letting go. And now at some point you might get that back from them after your mind is let go, right? Because the problem isn't the jewelry. The problem is that the mind's craving for it to be permanent. So once you let somebody else use it, your mind will let go. And now you might decide to wear it again, right? After your mind is let go over multiple weeks and months. Okay, so these are helping you to be able to train your mind to let go. And the frequency is more important than the amount. You'd like to be doing this daily, where you're practicing meditation and you're practicing generosity. Even someone drops something on the floor. Oh, excuse me, sir, ma'am, you dropped this. This is yours. That's generosity, right? So you can be practicing generosity in many different ways around you. So any questions on this one? No questions? Okay. I don't see any questions online either. Okay. So now, as you guys know, that when you have craving, your mind experiences pleasant feelings when you get what you want, but when you don't get what you want, that's where the agitation, frustration, anger, and hatred comes into the mind. When that anger is coming into the mind, that's where the bitterness and harshness and hostility is coming out towards other people and other beings through your intentions, your speech, and your actions, because the mind's not getting what it wants. So now the mind is bitter and harsh and hostile towards others. So the way to transform that is through loving kindness meditation and practicing loving kindness in your day-to-day life. You're going to need to do this meditation, which is a different type of meditation. I'm going to teach it to you tomorrow, where you're essentially rewiring your mind to be loving and kind. That's like filling up your gas tank in the meditation. But then you're going to need to go out into the world and be loving and kind through your intentions, your speech, and your actions. That's what the Eightfold Path taught you how to do. That's where the real transformation is happening. You can't meditate your way to the elimination of anger. Meditation is a key component of it. It's a technique that you're using to bubble up the loving kindness in the mind. But you need to go out into the world through your intentions, speech, and actions and be loving and kind with the people around you. This is what's going to help transform your mind. So you'll find it difficult with your parents, with your brothers and sisters, with your life partner, with your children, people that you're really close to. That's where you have the deepest craving and attachment. That's where you get the angriest with those people. Your acquaintances and your friends, you don't get angry with them pretty much, right? Your mind's completely peaceful around them. That's why you think your family is the problem, right? Where reality is coming from your own mind, right? Your mind's having certain expectations, certain wants in those relationships. So when you get rid of your cravings, that's automatically going to help reduce your anger. But you're going to need to go in and actually skillfully work with the mind by doing loving kindness meditation. And that's what's going to essentially rewire your mind to be loving and kind. That's filling up your gas tank. But then you're going to need to go out into the world and be loving and kind through your intentions, speech, and actions. And the Eightfold Path teaches you how to be able to do that. Because walking around with bitterness and harshness and hostility and venting that at people, it's just causing unwholesome results in your day-to-day life. You're damaging relationships. It's like this well-worn path of anger. You know where it leads. It leads to broken relationships. Right? So what we're talking about here is we're talking about creating this new path, getting out a machete, breaking through the bushes and the stickers. And now you create this well-worn path of loving kindness that you understand when something happens in your life, that anger that is coming, it's not coming from the other person. It's coming from your own mind. So the last thing you're interested in doing is going down this path of anger. So instead, you go down this path of loving kindness, where you can be loving and kind with the people around you. And now this becomes the well-worn path. And this path gets overgrown. And your mind doesn't even go down that path anymore, right? So this well-worn path of anger this well-worn path of loving kindness becomes the new pathway that your mind is now going down. It's rewired the mind. Okay, so this is what you would like to do in order to transform the mind away from anger, hatred, ill will, even the slightest dislike towards others. Sometimes people think holding on to their grudge or their resentment is a way to get back at the other person. Somebody might have did something. Maybe they stole from you. Maybe they cheated on you as a boyfriend or girlfriend, and you think holding on to your anger is a way to get back at them. But all you're doing is holding on to a hot coal, trying to burn somebody else. The only person who's getting burned is yourself. And as long as you hold on to that anger, it's just hurting your own mind. So you can let it go. And that's what the teachings of the Buddha are going to help you to do. So any questions on this one here? The anger, hatred, ill will, frustration, agitation, annoyance, even the slightest dislike can be eliminated from the mind, where you understand everybody's different, and that's okay. Right? That's just impermanence. We just make decisions differently. And we can love beings unconditionally. No questions? Okay. Let's see if we have anything here. All right. I'm not seeing any questions online either. Okay. Now, the whole reason why craving and anger even exist is because of this next one. People usually refer to it as ignorance. I like to use the phrase unknowing of true reality or lack of wisdom, confusion, misunderstanding. This is what's keeping the craving and the anger in the mind. If it wasn't for this poison or this pollution, the others wouldn't actually exist. And this is why everything you learn on the path to enlightenment is about cultivation of wisdom. There's no belief in the teachings of the Buddha. Because with belief, you don't know it's true or false. You're just believing it because someone convinced you to believe it, or you convinced yourself to believe it. You need to get to the point where you have wisdom to know the truth about how the world truly works, which includes your mind. And the way that you do that is by studying things like the Three Universal Truths, the Four Noble Truths, the Eightfold Path, the Five Precepts, the Brahma Viharas, the Natural Law of Karma, the Seven Factors of Enlightenment, extensive meditation training, the 10 Fetters. These are the core central teachings that you learn in order to be able to start cultivating that wisdom, where you understand true reality and what's actually truly happening with your mind and in the world around you. Because as long as you walk around with a lack of wisdom, this unknowing of true reality, you will think that the decisions you're making are all the best decisions in the world. And next thing you know, it'll blow up on you in your face. And you're like, oh my gosh, what just happened? Right? You thought you had all the best intentions in the world. And now this conversation blew up. And that's because you weren't practicing based on these wholesome teachings. So while we call it craving, anger, and ignorance, it's really because of ignorance that craving and anger continues in the mind. If it wasn't for this lack of wisdom, the mind would already be purified. The mind would already be enlightened. So the mind needs to be able to see the wisdom through investigation of the teachings, through reflecting on those teachings to independently verify them, and through practicing the teachings. That's what arises wisdom. And this is why I was mentioning that when you hear the teachings of the Buddha, it sounds strange sometimes. It sounds odd because this ignorance is in there. Sometimes people say, well, I disagree with the teachings of the Buddha. Well, of course you do, because you have this ignorance in the mind. You have this lack of wisdom. You have this unknowing of true reality. That's why you experience anger and sadness and frustration. So when you see and understand the true teachings, and you're able to independently verify them, more and more you gain this wisdom. But otherwise, the mind's going to have this confusion, this lack of wisdom. Some people call it delusion or the misperceptions of true reality. Okay, so you would like to cultivate this wisdom, which is then going to teach you how to eliminate your craving and eliminate your anger. So this is called the three poisons, or the three unwholesome roots, or the three fires of craving, anger, and ignorance, or this unknowing of true reality. These are the pollutions that are plaguing the mind, keeping it in the unenlightened state. And gradually, slowly but surely, you're bringing down craving, anger, and ignorance in your mind. That's what you're doing on the path to enlightenment. But then you would like to gradually increase your generosity, your loving kindness, and wisdom, because those are the wholesome roots. Whenever you're making decisions through the wholesome roots, you will experience wholesome results. So generosity is the exact opposite of craving. Craving is holding on to things, selfish desires. I want it my way. Generosity is like, let me share with you, right? I don't want anything from you. I don't expect anything from you. Let me just share with you, right? The anger, the hatred, the ill will, the dislike, the frustration, the exact opposite of that is loving kindness, a genuine interest in seeing you be well, having a active goodwill towards you, right? Then the opposite of this ignorance and this unknowing of true reality is wisdom, functioning through wisdom and understanding what's wise and unwise about these natural laws. And now functioning through generosity, loving kindness, and wisdom, you will only experience wholesome results. So you're gradually bringing down the craving, anger, and ignorance, because as long as you make decisions through that, you're going to experience unwholesome karma, unwholesome results. And part of that unwholesome results is the stress, the anxiety, the loneliness, the boredom, the guilt, the shame, the fear. That's part of those unwholesome results that you're experiencing because the craving, anger, and ignorance is in there. But then you're gradually bringing up the generosity, the loving kindness, and the wisdom. And more, eventually, when you're making decisions that way for an extended period of time, you'll extinguish all your pollutions and you'll only be experiencing wholesome results in your day-to-day life, or wholesome karma. So any questions on this? No questions? Okay. So it's basically 12 minutes before 3 o'clock. I can do meditation with you guys if you guys would like, or not. It's up to you. It's your choice. It's your decisions. If you guys would like to stick around and meditate, I will meditate with you. But if you're not interested and you guys would like to just go home, that's fine too. I'll give you guys the choice. Of course, everything in life is your choice. You guys know you can come and go anytime you like. There's no rules. I'm not stopping you from anything. So is there anybody that would like to stick around and meditate? Or are you guys done for the day? You'd like to go home? You'd like to stick around? Okay. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the chanting to ease into the meditation. I'll guide you in a breathing mindfulness meditation session. Then there's going to be a period of time where it's just quiet and we're all meditating together. Then we're going to come out of that with some more chanting. Okay. So make yourself comfortable however you like. Remember, these chants, it's not a rite or ritual or ceremony, worship or prayer. It's just to help ease the mind into meditation and get more benefit out of the meditation itself. So let me just switch over something here. Okay. Arahang Samma Sambuddho Mahakewa Potang Mahakewanang Apiwate Ami Savakato Mahakawata Tammo Dhammang Namasami Supatipano Mahakavato Savakasangko Sanghang Namami Namo Rasa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa Namo Rasa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa Namo Rasa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa Iti piso Mahakawa Arahang สัมมาสัมพุทโธวิชาจารนังสัมมุโนสกาโตโรกาวิตูอนุเตโรปุริสาดามาสติสัตตาตาวามนุสนังปุตโตภาควาติ Okay, with the lower body and hands and arms comfortable, and the upper body erect. Just close the eyes and start breathing in through the nose and out through the nose. Here you're just looking to establish the breath. A nice, natural, steady, consistent breath. Not forced or controlled, just a gradual inhale through the nose, experiencing the full breath. And then whenever you're ready, exhale out through the nose. Breathing in and out. Breathing in and out. Your breath may not match up with the guidance that I'm providing, and that's okay. This is your practice. I'm just here for guidance. You can use this voice as a reminder that whenever you get to the next inhale, breathing gradually through the nose, developing a nice, natural, steady, consistent breath. And then whenever you're ready, exhale out through the nose, experiencing the full breath. Breathing in and out. Breathing in and out. With the breath well established, start fixating the mind on the breath, either the sound of the breath coming into the nose or the sensation of air moving over the skin into the nose. The breath is the present moment. Fixate the mind on the breath, the present moment. Breathing in and out. Breathing in and out. With the mind fixated on the breath, whenever you notice that it moves off the breath, cut that off, let it go, and come back to the breath, the present moment. No need to observe the thought, label it, judge it, analyze it, or even try to figure out where it's coming from. Whenever you notice that the mind has moved off the breath, cut that off, let it go, and come back to the breath, the present moment. Breathing in and out. Breathing in and out. I'm going to be quiet now and let you do this work of focusing on the breath, cutting off and letting go anytime the mind moves off the breath. You have nowhere to go. There's nothing to do. No one needs you right now. This is your time to focus on the breath. Breathing in and out. อะระหังสัมมาสัมพุทโธมหะเกวาโอตังมหาเกวันหังอภิวาเทมิสวากขาโตมหาเกวตาธัมโมธัมมังนามัสสามิสุปฏิปันโนมหะเกวโตสาวกสังโฆสังฆังนามามินะโมอะระหะสะภะคะวะโตอะระหะโตสัมมาสัมพุทธัสสะนะโมอะระหะสะภะคะวะโตอะระหะโตสัมมาสัมพุทธัสสะนะโมอะระหะสะภะคะวะโตอะระหะโตสัมมาสัมพุทธัสสะอิติปิโสมหะเกวาอะระหังสัมมาสัมพุทโธวิชาจารณังสัมมุโนสกขาโตโรกาวิตุอนุเตโรปุริสาดัมมาสติสัตตาตาวามนุสนังพุทโธภะคะวะติ Okay, if you guys would like to slowly make your way out of meditation. All right, so full day of learning, right? Tomorrow, what I'm going to be sharing with you guys is loving kindness meditation. I'm going to teach you guys how to do this, and then we're going to actually do it. And afterwards, I'm going to share with you guys what are the jhanas, so you can understand what these are, because once you start experiencing these jhanas, your practice starts to pivot, and you start moving towards other teachings. So it's the Eightfold Path that's going to get you up to this point where you're experiencing the jhanas, but then once you start experiencing those, you need to start kind of pivoting your practice and focusing on some other things. Then I'm going to share with you guys after that the 4 stages of enlightenment, helping you guys to understand what the 4 stages of enlightenment are. It's because as you're moving through the jhanas, your mind's going to start experiencing these 4 stages of enlightenment. And you need to be able to identify that's what you're experiencing, because you need to be able to plot your steps forward to continue to make forward progress to actually get to enlightenment. After lunch, then I'm going to be doing breathing mindfulness meditation with you guys, and then I'm going to teach you guys the 10 fetters. I'm going to explain to you guys what these are, the symptoms that you're experiencing because of them, and how to eliminate them from the mind. So you'll be able to learn this tomorrow too. These are the 10 pollutions. This is what you're eliminating through practicing on the Eightfold Path. That's what's going to produce this enlightened mental state. So enjoy your evening, whatever you guys decide to do. Have a very lovely and wonderful rest of your day. Perhaps I'll see you next time. Sawadee Kap. Sawadee Kap.